And I would say, I don't know, but I have been busy. See, I was pulled all over the place. Okay, today I'm going to talk about whether you're focused or whether you are busy. Now, I've already told you that focus is a challenge for me. What I didn't tell you is I'm also kind of messy. When you get too busy, you get messy. Now, John is not messy. John puts everything away after he gets it out. Somehow, I don't know, I forget to put things away. And just the other night, something happened, something that I've never done before. I was getting ready for bed and I was going to brush my teeth, which I do on a regular basis, but instead of picking up a tube of toothpaste, I picked up a facial cleanser. I put it on my toothbrush and I started brushing my teeth, and within about 5 seconds, I realized, wait a minute, that is not toothpaste. That is something else. See, I had the right thing in the wrong place. And because I had the right thing, a facial cleanser, and the wrong place, I picked up the wrong thing and I used it for the wrong thing. So when you do not have things where they belong, you will end up misusing the right thing at the wrong time, which makes it the wrong thing. And when my kids were little, and again, I'm 60, I'm a grandmother now, but I remember when my kids were little, my life was messy, it was busy. I called it the blessed blur, but I was focusless for days. John would leave to go to the office, come back, and the house would be in incredible chaos and disarray. And he would look at me and say, "What have you been doing all day?" And I would say, "I don't know, but I have been busy." Busy was accurate. Focused would have been a lie. See, I was pulled all over the place. My husband was a youth pastor at a church, and we thought it was wrong to have an unlisted phone number. So our phone number was listed, which meant about 9 o'clock in the morning, the phone started ringing. I had 3 little kids running around my house, but I would pick up every single phone call that came in because I thought that I was being selfless. I thought that I was being saint-like, allowing everybody to interrupt my life. But you know what? I wasn't being saint-like, and I wasn't being selfless. I was being careless, because you should never allow those outside of your house to interrupt what is happening in your home. Now, I'm not talking about people in need. I'm not talking about people that call you in a desperate situation. Not talking about that. I'm talking about a youth pastor's wife answering the phone all the time and ignoring her children. That's what I'm talking about, where my children became a bother and the phone calls that were interruptions became the focus. And the truth was, I was never fully present for either people. I was not really at my best for the people that were asking for advice while I'm navigating children, nor was I at my best for my children while I have a phone attached to my ears. If we are not careful, we will give more attention to our virtual relationships than our actual relationships. I don't want you to live in the frantic in-between, looking at your virtual connections and ignoring your actual connections. See, it's always going to be easier to argue with people online than have the hard conversations with your husband. It will always be easier to give other people advice than to live out parenting with your children. It will always be easier to argue with strangers than to reason with God. But God invites you and I to reason with him. He says, "Come now, let's reason together. Though your sins be like scarlet, I'm going to make them white as snow." God is saying there is a redemptive plan in every broken place in your life, but you should not be engaged with people who are not in a position to help you with things. Looking back at my life, I'm going to realize that there were times where it was easier for me to embrace distraction than to actually focus. And I had to ask myself, why? Why am I avoiding doing this? And here's some of the answers I came with. Sometimes I was procrastinating because I didn't feel like I had what I needed to start. Other times I procrastinated because I was afraid I didn't have what I needed to finish. Sometimes I procrastinated because I did not want to ask for the help that I actually needed. But when you make a decision that you are not going to be living by every single distraction, every single thing that pulls you in all sorts of different directions, when you become a focused child of God, then the enemy gets nervous. See, distraction is such a widely successful ploy of the enemy. That is why it is so widely deployed. He does not want you to know who you really are. Because if you find out who you really are, then he's going to find out that you are a force to contend with. Focus your energy, focus your power, focus in on your season. I wish I would have understood that season with my children that was exhausting was going to go way quicker than I could ever imagine. There's always going to be people who have needs and want to put a pull on you, but you have to decide what your focus is going to be. It's always exciting to get a bunch of likes on an Instagram post or a Facebook post, but really what builds our lives is our iron sharpens iron relationships. So focus on those.